Good evening. What a wonderful, beautiful evening. Absolutely stunning. We are very blessed. And on to today's topic. All about getting the ball rolling. And I know this can be very difficult. And it can be very difficult because we get very wrapped up on what's happened in the past and what we think is going to happen in the future. And this is known as our internal distractors. What do I mean by that? So, internal distractors concern our thoughts, worries and feelings. Now, getting the ball rolling can be really difficult because a lot of the time we always reflect on past events. Well, not always, we reflect on past events. We usually reflect on what hasn't worked in the past. We think, oh, this hasn't happened, oh, what? And then we think, okay, then that's going to affect what's going to happen now. Because we think, oh, it hasn't worked in the past, so that means it's going to be like that forever. Which is obviously not true. But when you're in that kind of mindset of always reflecting on negative outlook, it's going to produce negative results. So we tend to reflect on negative from the past, very rarely the positive. And in terms of the future events, we very much adopt what-if statements. We think, what if this happens? What if that happens? What if this goes wrong? What if that goes wrong? And we're filling all these what-if statements in our head. And we do it out of a form of self-protection, which is natural human behaviour. You know, we do it out of fear. We always expect the worst to happen. And because of that, we let it stop us. We let it stop us from actually taking action in the first place. And in terms of getting the ball rolling, it's really important to reflect and focus your energy in the present. Because what has happened in the past has happened. Okay, a keto diet might not have worked out. Usually they don't. They might do short term, but that's because, you know, when you don't eat carbs, when you cut carbs, 1 gram of carbs is 3 grams of water weight, as science research suggests. So that's why people drop weight pretty quickly when they go on keto, because they're dropping water weight. Anyway, when you go on these diets and they don't work, which is more often the case, you always reflect on that. And so you think, I can't diet. Diets never work for me, so what's the point in trying? That's a classic example of reflecting on the past. Letting our anxiety, what's happened, control what we can control right now. In terms of what-if statements in the future, we then let that past determine our future, because we think, well, what if I do a diet and I fail it again? What if I do a diet and it just doesn't work? Then what? So be it. Because at least you're putting one foot in front of the other, and you're not letting the past be the complete dictator in your outcome. And we do this as a result of, you know, us protecting ourselves, as I said. But how can we stop this? Well, first of all, we need to write shit down more. We need to write stuff down more and actually think, right, okay, because if we write it down, it's a lot more manageable, it's a lot more trackable. Whereas when we don't write things down, it's so easily forgotten. And then we go in this cycle of setting the right intentions, right, we're going to do this, right, we're going to do that, make yourself feel good about doing it. And then when it comes to it, you're like, oh no, can't be asked, not bothered. Oh, I'll do it another time, you know, not for me. And okay, but you're just never going to get going. You're never going to do it. And you'll just make yourself feel good about putting that into action, when the truth is you're just lying to yourself. And that's the honest truth. And we do that out of a form of self-protection. So we need to really focus on bringing our energy into the present. Because if we constantly let the past stop us, you know, from going forward, if we constantly let that fear, then we're never going to get anywhere. And the sooner we realise that, we just got to focus, bring our energy, our attention into the here and now, get rid of the past. What's happened has happened. let your energy control yourself in the centre, in the here and now, one step in front of the other. That's all you can do. Even if stuff doesn't work out, you're still one step closer to where you want to be. It's like all these entrepreneurs who are really successful, all these top dogs, you know, they cocked up far more times than the people who aren't successful. But that never gets mentioned. Yes, they're successful, but they cock up more. They get more things wrong. But because of that, they learn more. So, but what they do is they put one foot in front of the other, focus their energy in the present, and just put one foot in front of the other and get that ball rolling. It's always the hardest thing, getting that ball rolling. So an easy way to get that ball rolling is just writing down what you can control in the present. So if we've got the fat loss journey, what can you control in the present right now that will help you get to where you want to be? Focusing on your process goals, the goals you set every day to help you get to your fat loss journey. Might not seem significant on the first day, might not seem significant on the second day or the third day, but over time that accumulates. And then when the result starts to come, you think, okay, I can see this going somewhere. That could be getting in 10,000 steps a day, drinking 2 litres of water a day. Those are somewhere, they're places to start. If you're on a muscle gain journey, hitting your protein targets every day, you know, eating around your calorie targets every day. Yes, it might seem tough at the time, but once you kind of really focus on breaking it down into the present and the now, you're going to be a lot less overwhelmed and a lot more fixated on the present, not on the past, because you're controlling what you can now. And something which is very popular is self-fulfilling prophecy. Well, when I say popular, it's a term which is very common as humans. It's what we do. Self-fulfilling prophecy is us expecting something to happen, and because we have that expectation, it's more likely to happen. So when we expect a negative outcome, chances are it's going to happen because we expect it. And this creates a really vicious cycle of psychological barriers, because expecting a negative outcome increases our anxiety states. We then think what's gone wrong in the past, what could go wrong in the future, adopting those what-if statements, and we just get trapped in this vicious cycle. And when we expect these things happen, it usually does happen. So, how to stop that is writing it down, breaking it down into your process goals, getting to where you want to be. And if we relate this to mental health, self-fulfilling prophecy with our mental health, on a journey, if we feel like we're never going to get better, if we're always telling ourselves, I'm doomed, I can't get better, I'm going to be like this forever, it's going to happen. Whereas opening up, when you open up, you give yourself that little ray of hope. And when you give yourself that little ray of hope, you're obviously still in a negative mindset, you're still really trapped, but things start to get rolling, the ball starts to roll. Because then you think, right, I've opened up. If I open up once, I can do it again. And then that ball starts rolling, and that self-fulfilling prophecy of you always thinking this could be like forever, now you start to think there is hope. And you grab onto that hope. And then when you know there's hope, that tiny bit of hope, that's when a more positive self-fulfilling prophecy starts. You start to think to yourself, maybe I can get better. You know, it's going to take a while, but maybe I can eventually get there. Maybe it's not as bad as I thought it was. And honestly, this process, psychological process, inside our minds, is so powerful. So, remember that, self-fulfilling prophecy, which is where if you expect things to happen, negatively or positively, it's more likely to happen. So that's how to get the ball rolling in terms of your health and fitness, bringing it into the present, take out the past, take out the future, what if, write stuff down. Once you get that ball rolling, it all starts to seem easier. Stop protecting yourself, stop making excuses, because if you keep making excuses yourself, you don't want to take action, you don't want to make that change, which is fine. Everyone's on their own journey. Everyone can do what the hell they want to do. That's fine. But then it only becomes frustrating when you start to complain and say, oh, but the action's there. The action is there. And if you're complaining about your certain body weight and you're not taking action, then what do you expect? Anyway, that's me done. Enjoy getting my thoughts out. Hope you can get some use out of this. Just to summarise, how to get the ball rolling. Firstly, write stuff down. Focus on the present. Get your attention, selective attention on the present. Don't adopt the past, because we always tend to focus on negative thought patterns. Don't adopt future what-if statements, because then increases anxiety states and thinking all the things that could go wrong. And with your mental health as well, remember self-fulfilling prophecy. If you expect it to happen, the chances of it happening are a lot higher. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Very much enjoyed that myself. And see you on Friday for our next talk.